Dandava Pranam, Radhe Radhe. Welcome to Shri Radha Vinu Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Panuga Gauri Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vinu Bihari Ji ki jai, Radharman Ji ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol, Dandava Pranam.
Where'd my songbook go? Oh, it's in the green bag on the other side. Sorry. I brought it downstairs today and I forgot. I left it in the bag. So we will start with Mangalacharan, page 1 in this book, Sri Gauri Giti Guccha, starting with Vandeham, Bandeham. And today we will continue with the remembrance of and glorification of the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswamipada.
Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Naudarya Madhurya Purashya Yuktam Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirasham Namami Trigandinam Bhakta Shiromaninja Shri Krishna Padam Jnitaika Vritti Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tvam Sanatan Prapadye Namaho Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaura Presthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Nityanamine Patimatya Charitraya Swashritanam Chavanine Jiva Dukhe Sagartaya Shri Rama Premadayine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya श्रीने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये निरकारिणे रूपानुगनिरुद्धातो सिद्धान्तद्वन्द्वहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् त्रैलोक्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भारसम्बोधे पदम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगम्बरायते गौरानिर्भावभूमे स्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिया वैष्णवः सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरगोपङ्गो मम मन्दमतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्रीराधा श्रीरगोविन्ददेवो प्रेष्ठानिधिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भी वंशिवत्ततस्ततः कर्षं देयुस्वरेगोपि गोपीनाथश्रिये सुनः वृन्दाये तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहातापनिर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यामधुजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मसपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्ण संकीर्तनम् हरे नाम हरे नामेव केवलम् करुणस्तेव गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Gurudev Kripa Karke page 360, and it starts with Gurudev Kripa Karke K-R-P-A-K-A-R-K-E.
307 370. You think we can do it with this? In the drum? No. You good?
You can.
Gurudev Kripa Karke
Hey Gurudev.
Mujhko apna lena. Gurudev Kripa Gurudev Kripa
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Guru Varga ki jai, Srila Goswamipada ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai. Evaro Kuruna Koro Vaisnava Goshai. Page 44.
And if you don't know by now, there's great news. If you don't have the songbook or the Gaudiya app, if you keep scrolling down to the bottom of the thread, or the top, who knows, you'll find that Jiva Pavana Prabhu very kindly does the service of providing the lyrics and the translations for the bhajans so we can all join in sweet kirtan together. And every now and then you'll find that he posts so much nectar, especially during Mahamantra time and during the class. So keep searching like a honeybee for the nectar that he posts. Thank you so much, Jiva Pavana Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, thank you. Evaro Kuruna Koro Vaishnava Goshai. EIPARAKARUNA page 44.
44.
Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama. Page 148. H-A-R-I-H-A-R-A-Y-E Nama Krishna. And if you don't have the songbook, just follow the thread. Jiva Pavana Prabhu always mercifully posts the bhajan in the most recent comment of the thread.
Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhakta Prabhu Shri Jiva Gopal Bhakta Dasa Rambhuna Echai Doshai Koti Charanamanda Jaha Hoite Vignash Abhishta Pura Echai Doshai Jaramukti Asavanu Pandore Mumuru Panchagra Totadir Charana Seni Bhakta Samdeva Janame Janome Bhumi Ambila Echai Goshai Jame Bhaje Goyama Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Golila Prabha Anande Dolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaisnava Pade Bhajaniyama Shri Guru Vaisnava Pada Padma Goliya Nam Sankirtanam Prabhira Rutamada Hari Haraya Rama Krishna Yadavaya Yadavaya Madhavaya Vishnuvaya Gopal Gundaram Srimadhusuram Giridhari Gopinath Vandanam Giridhari Gopinath Vandanam গৌরাঙ্গ বলিতে হবে পুলক শরীর হরি হরি বলিতে নয়নে ভাবে
Page 86 in the small book.
86 starting with GAU RANGA BOLITE হবে HABE গৌরাঙ্গ বলিতে হবে Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Manjali pada, same or sampada, same or bhajana pujan.
Page 50.
If you don't have the book, Jiva Pavan Prabhu very kindly posted as a comment in the thread.
It's really nice. Generally now there's a picture of Srila Prabhupada there. Very sweet.
Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Sevara Sampada Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Say Krishna Pranamo. Rupa Goswami is the Acharya of Abhideya Tattva. Sanatan Goswami is known as the Acharya of Sambandha Tattva, which is the source or the relationship Tattva. So, starting that relationship is known as Sambandha, that relationship in practice is known as Abhideya, and that relationship in perfection is known as Prayojan. So Raghunath Das Goswami is the Acharya of Prayojan Tattva. And each one of these tattvas has an Acharya, and each one has a deity. So the Acharya of Sambandha Tattva is Sanatan Goswami. He's asking questions to Mahaprabhu. Kayami, who am I? What am I here for? What is my purpose? Why am I suffering the threefold miseries? So many questions like this. And his Thakur is Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan. And then Abhideya Tattva, that is Rupa Goswami. Abhideya means practice, devotional service in practice. So Rupa Goswami is receiving so many instructions from Mahaprabhu and also sharing that with the world. The relationship in practice. And his Thakurji is Radha Govinda. So Govinda De is the Thakur of Rupa Goswami. And then there's Prayojan Tattva. The Acharya Prayojan Tattva is Raghunath Das Goswami. And who is the deity of Prayojan? Gopinath. Radha Gopinath. So Madan Mohan, Govinda, Gopinath. What prayer we're going to call Radha Krishna Pranamor. If you understand of Abhideya Tattva, there is one verse which you may be familiar with. We say it during Mangalacharan. Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnagara Sinhasanasto Shri Shri Radha Srila Govinda Deva Prishthalibhi Sevyamano Smarami. So that is the beautiful prayer. And this one also, where is it again?
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. This one also says, I will place Radha and Krishna on a beautiful jeweled throne, and they will be surrounded by their sakhis. So this is the bhajan form of that verse, which is represented by what Srila Rupa Goswami gives to this world. And it is written by Sri Narottam Das Thakur. And we just sang the bhajan of Narottam Das Thakur. What is his mood of utter supplication at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami? Sri Rupa Manjaripada Semor Sampada Semor Bhajana Pujan. So now we will call out in the words of Raghunath Das Goswami, embodying the mood of Rupa Goswami's teaching us this.
Narottam, not Narottam.
No, embodying the mood of Rupa Goswami's teaching us is Abhideya Tattva. Too high. 1 second.
If you want to sing it that.
Radha Krishna Prano Jugal Kishori.
Jivane
Page 5. Mahamantra. Hare Krishna. Sorry. Gurudev ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Goswami Hari ki jai, Radha Vidhari Guru ki jai, Radha Guru ki jai, Gurudeva Maharaja ki jai, Hari Ram Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari.
Hey, Gurudeva. Gurudeva.
Someone is preaching very powerfully downstairs. I can hear them. Sounds like Pujapad Maharaj. Could be. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namam Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Nityanamine Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Adadanam Trinandat Kai Idam Yache Punapana Srimad Rupa Padambojo Dhulisham Janma Janmani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girin Yat Kripatamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Prabhupada Visnupada, Astottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Prabhupada Visnupada, Astottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu, and to all of our Rupanga Guru Varga. And I also offer my Dandavat Pranam to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of you who are present today. My Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
So today, we will continue with endeavoring to glorify, to remember the glorifications that we have heard from our Guru Varga of that person whose glories are unlimited. That is Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu ki jai. So yesterday we heard so much about Rupa Goswami being that person who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invested with all of his transcendental potency to be able to deliver to this world what Mahaprabhu wanted to give. Srila Gurudev established the point that Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, who has come to taste the bhavs, the moods of love and affection that Srimati Radhika has for Krishna. So he wants to know what she's tasting and what she's experiencing. And as he's tasting this, he also wants to give some sprinkle of that, some of that mood. What I'm experiencing is so wonderful, so tasty, so amazing. You should also try it. You know how when we're eating something and there's 20 people in the room and you're going, oh my God, this is the best dessert I've ever had in my life. It doesn't mean anything to anyone else unless they also get to taste something of it. Okay, that's nice, great, I'm happy for you, but it's not enough. You need to prove it. So what he was experiencing was this Unata Ujvala Rasa, this highest, topmost, bhav, of love and affection. Srila Gurudev established that Unata Ujjvala Rasa is the mood of the gopis. It is Parakiya Bhav for Krishna, especially of Srimati Radhika, who is the crest jewel of all of the gopis. And all of the gopis are her manifestations. As told in Brahma Samhita, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavis Tavirya Eva Nija Rupataya Kalavi Goloka Eva Nivasatyati Latma Bhuto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That Srimati Radhika resembles Krishna. I mean, she is manifested from him, and she expands herself, means all of her bhavs, all of her moods, unlimitedly, in so many forms that are similar to herself. Kala is there. So, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavis Tabirya Eva Nija Rupataya Kala. Nija Rupa means her own. Rupa, Rupataya Kalabhi. So each form is like a manifestation of her bhavs, of love and affection for Krishna, of which there are unlimited. So this Unata Ujjvala Rasa, this cannot be tasted by any jiva, any ordinary jiva. This is the property of the Nitya Siddha Parikars of Krishna, especially the gopis. They are manifestations of Srimati Radhika. They are Krishna's eternal, transcendental counterparts. So, what can the jivas experience of that? Raga, Marga, Bhakti, Loke, Kurite, Pracharan. We can experience up to the mood of Unata Ujjvala Rasam Sva Bhakti Shriyam, Srila Gurudev established. So, Sva Bhakti means Srimati Radhika's own moods of love and affection, and Shriya means beauty. So some semblance of the beauty of that. And how do we experience that? Srimati Radhika's own beauty, her own form, the manifestation of her form or her beauty takes its shape in the form of Shri Rupa. Rupa means form or beauty. So her form or her beauty has its manifestation in Shri Rupa. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna tasting Radha Bhav, has requested all Vaishnavas, all of his divine associates, to infuse Rupa Goswami with a very special capacity and capability that even any of the gopis cannot do directly, not as gopis, because they're quiet. That any of the eternal associates, even Srimati Radhika, even Krishna himself, do not speak out. But what did Rupa Goswami receive? Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stopped Rai Ramananda from speaking any further, but Rupa Goswami was able to give all of this. By the blessing of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he told Rupa Goswami that the ocean of Bhakti Rasa is unlimited, so I will give you one drop. That's Bhakti-rasamrita, Sindhu, Bindu. That is a drop. Of course, Rupa Goswami's book is known as Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu. And he sprinkled so many of these finer particles of that drop. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he wrote Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. Bindu means drop. So from that one drop of the unlimited ocean of Bhakti Ras nectar, Ras means nectar, but Bhakti Ras, from that one drop, Rupa Goswami was able to manifest everything, the inner heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this world. Therefore, we pray to Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Kada means when. When will Rupa Goswamipada, who has established, who has manifested the inner heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this world, when will he give me the shade of his lotus feet? When will he give me shelter at his lotus feet? Dadati swapadantikam. Dadati means to give, swa means his own, pada antikam. When will he give me the shelter, the shade of his lotus feet? This prayer is very beautiful. So this Srila Rupa Goswamipada, how does he give us the shade of his lotus feet? By giving us all of the truths of how to move forward in the path of bhakti in that way that will bring us to our highest goal, our highest destination. So first I would like to speak a little bit about this most important verse, which is the best verse defining bhakti. And I know we've spoken about it a lot, but our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj said it is necessary to meditate upon this every day. And that if one really has an understanding of this verse, in the association of the pure Vaishnavas who have that mood of divine love and affection for Radha and Krishna in transcendental Vrindavan, then real bhakti will manifest as a result. So this verse Rupa Goswami gave, it is in Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, I think it's 1:11. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktir uttama. And this one Srila Gurudev required all of his disciples to know. And if they didn't know it, then he would say, learn it. So for those of you who are his disciples, that is at least one shlok that we should know. And if Gurudev ever asked anyone, what is the definition of bhakti? If we did not quote that shlok, he would not be satisfied. It was like our answer was empty. He wanted us to quote that particular verse. There are other definitions of bhakti given in the scriptures. But according to our Guru Varga, they have mentioned that it might be that when you look at those other verses, you can also ascribe them to other things. There's one, sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchate. But it's not very specific. Hrishikena hrishikesha means to engage, he's saying to engage all of one's senses in the service of that person who is beyond the realm of the material senses. But who is beyond the realm of the material senses? There are so many different aspects. So many different aspects. There's Narayan in Vaikuntha, Narasingha, Vaman, Ram, Matsya, Kurma. So many different aspects. Krishna in Dwarka, Krishna in Mathura. But in the verse, the best verse defining bhakti, there it is saying, Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. And our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj establishes that this is the best because it directly defines that personality whom all scriptures are finally pointing to as being the supreme, supermost. Ete chang sakala pungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavatarma Karod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam. Swayam, Krishna. Krishna himself is the supreme absolute truth and the origin of all others. He is the source, sarva karana karana, of all other avatars. So this is the supreme topmost personality which is defined by this shlok. And who is that? As Mahaprabhu told Sanatan Goswami, Krishna Swarup Vichar Shuno Sanatan Advai Gyan Tattva Braje Brajendra Nandan. The supreme, non-dual, absolute truth is none other than Brajendra Nandan Shyamasundar, Krishna in Vrindavan, the son of Nanda Maharaj. That Krishna never steps one foot outside of Vrindavan. Vrindavanam Parityajya Padam Ekam Nagacchati. He never steps one foot outside of Vrindavan. And there he's only enjoying the ras in Leela with all of his transcendental associates. So there, what is Krishna doing? We've already been speaking about that when we are going through this wonderful treasure, going beyond Vaikuntha. In Vrindavan, love controls everything to such an extent that Krishna himself forgets he is God. No one in Vrindavan thinks Krishna is God. They think he is our dear, most beloved, and he is completely consumed and controlled by their love and affection. I think our Srila Gurudev has a little booklet called To Be Controlled by Love. And it's about Krishna being controlled by love. He becomes subjugated by the love and devotion of the Brajavasis. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is stated that love or worship of the Lord is made feeble, made weak, by having a mood of awe and reverence. I mean, if it is done with fear, or some concern that if I don't worship God because if I don't do it, then I'm doing the wrong thing and then maybe I'll go to hell or I'll suffer, so I have to do this because Scripture tells me to do it. This does not really attract the Supreme Lord. Maybe these prayers will go to Narayan, but this does not attract Krishna at all. But Krishna says, oh, the loving chastisements of my gopis or my mother. He said, oh, this is so sweet to my ears. So beautiful and so sweet. Krishna himself becomes attracted. But not anyone can speak to Krishna like that. If we were to speak to him like that at this point in time in our practice of sadhana, then it would be aparad, nam aparad, offensive to Krishna. But because their love is so great, their Aishwarya Bhav is completely covered by unlimited gallons of transcendental ras. Everything about Vrindavan is sweet, sweet, sweet. So much ras is there that they don't see him as God. He doesn't see him as God. He sees them as like ordinary family members, and they see him as their family member, and all they know is that they love him with every part of their being. So, anya bhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanabratam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. The last two words, bhaktir uttama. This is saying that this is the supreme or the highest bhakti, uttama bhakti, the highest love and devotion for Krishna. And technically, according to this verse, this term bhakti can actually only really truly be utilized for Krishna. For Krishna. So what is it? Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. This is what is bhakti. And the first two lines, Anyabhilashita Shunyam. That one is saying what bhakti is devoid of. And then Jnana Karma Adi. Means those are the things which it is that it is devoid of. So Anyabhilashita Shunyam. Anya means any other. Anya. Abhilashita, desire, ita, and so forth. Shunya means without or devoid. So devoid of any other desire. Not approaching the Lord for any mundane thing. I will serve you. I will put a piece of fruit in front of you or 10 rupees. Please let me win the lottery. This is some kind of bhakti, but it is karma mishra bhakti. It is mixed with desire for fruitive gain. I will do something for you, so you should do something for me. This is not pure bhakti. This is motivated. So you cannot call it ahaitiki apratihata because it has material motivation in it. It is not spontaneous, natural. It has some plan. The pure devotee does not want anything from the Lord. They just want to serve him, to please him. So it is not defined by this jnana and karma. Jnana means knowledge aimed at impersonal liberation. Meaning I want something as a result of my service. What is that? I want to cease to experience individuality. I want to be one with you. In other words, I want to be you. I want to not feel my individual separate existence. I don't want to feel the duality. So this is jnana, or knowledge aimed at impersonal liberation. This is what is mentioned in that context. Which would be the natural course of anyone who does not come in contact with a pure devotee of the Lord, or a devotee of the Lord. Why? Because all we have experienced in this material world for billions and trillions of lifetimes is temporary happiness and the natural resultant effect of that, which is suffering. So the cosmic balancing act of happiness and suffering. And finally, we start to decide, I don't want to experience either because I always see that the result of my happiness is suffering. So if I just don't experience either, then everything will be good. That's what happens. And then the pure devotees come along and they say, wait a second, it's not just that. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, there's another divine transcendental realm. And if you go there, you never have to return here. And that realm is the realm of everlasting peace. What does that mean? You are flowing according to your nature in love and affection to Krishna. You can never be satisfied being inactive because the nature of your Atma is Sat Chit Ananda. It is eternal, full of bliss, full of knowledge, full of happiness and love. And if you're not experiencing, then you're not flowing according to the nature of your Atma. So that person comes along, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he told Sanatan Goswami. Jivera Surupahoy Krishner Nityadas Krishner Tatashtha Shakti Bhedaved Prakash. That the jiva is an eternal servant of Krishna by its intrinsic nature. Someone was asking about DNA, because I said DNA of the soul the other day. And Sudevi told me someone was asking about that. Because we have DNA which makes up our features in this material body, in this particular body. So I was thinking about, yes, DNA of the soul is what makes up our transcendental nature. It's already present within us. And I was thinking, okay, what is that an acronym for? Divine Natural Attributes. Okay, DNA for the soul is divine, transcendental, natural attributes. So that DNA of the soul is already present. And that dasitva means that, or yes, the servitude is already present. And even the particular nature of the service that we will engage in to Krishna, this is also present inherently within the soul. How Srila Gurudev established this point again and again and again on the foundation of what his Gurudev taught, what Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj taught, what Bhakti Dayatamara Maharaj taught, what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada taught, what our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada taught, what Bhakti Vinod Thakur taught, and what all of our Guru Varga taught, because it is tattva. It is essential, foundational truth. There's no meaning to the word das without service, a specified service also mentioned. And then, Krishner Tatashtha Shakti Bhedaved Prakash, that Krishna's, we are Krishna's Tatashta Shakti, at the same time different and not different from him. How are we different? We are infinitesimal, and he is infinite. We are always dependent upon him, and he is always our shelter. So there's a difference. And how is it not different? Because we are never, ever able to be actually outside of the realm of Godhead. One way or another, we are always dependent on him, either through his internal energy or his external energy. There's no possible way to truly escape or to have some separate identity, true separate identity, other than our inherent identity. We are also made of the same stuff. But we are, the same stuff means, as Krishna says, Mamaivangsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are also eternal. Our Guru Varga have said we are also made of Sat Chit Ananda, eternality, bliss, happiness, all of this. We are composed of that. The only difference is we are infinitesimal and we are made, we say this word made, meant for serving Krishna. But we are also Sanatan, just like him. It means eternal, that thing which always exists, which always has existed, which always will exist, which exists now. It can never be destroyed. It always will be. So coming back to Anyabhilashita Shunyam, I was speaking about this Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Bhakti which is mixed means acts of devotion with intention to, in essence, cease to exist. Means I don't want to feel individuality. But in that, it is not service to Krishna. There's no expression of service. So when Hanuman speaks, Rupa Goswami puts in this beautiful book, Padyavali, a quote from Hanuman, that if this idea of merging with the Lord is devoid of service to Sri Ram, I will never accept it. How can you serve in such a situation when you don't even realize your individual existence, that I am a servant of the Lord, then how would you serve? What will you taste? What will you experience? If your tongue is made of sugar, and we're not going to go, well, brown and white. Okay, let's just say your tongue is made of white sugar from the same bag, and you put white sugar from that same bag on your tongue. What are you going to taste? Nothing. Nothing. So, taste requires two transcendental eternal personalities. That's why Krishna himself manifested from himself Srimati Radhika. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Hladini Shaktir Asmad Ekatma. They are one soul, but eternally separated for the purpose of experiencing the exchange of divine, transcendental love and affection. This is called pranaya. That's why they are eternally separated. Like that. Radha Krishna. One soul, ekatma, but eternally separated for tasting pranaya. As two individual entities, if you want to call it like that. And the jivas also. Krishna is the enjoyer, and we are the servant. So when you have this dynamic, then there's the realm of rasa or taste. As we are serving, Krishna is tasting. As he is tasting, he is reciprocating. This is the realm of rasa. So jnana karma adi means and so forth. So Srila Rupa Goswami and our Guru Varga have explained what is this adi. Adi means anything else which creeps up in the name of bhakti, which looks like bhakti or might be able to kind of fit along the side, but actually might be detrimental to it. And every single commentary of our acharyas in Guru Varga, they say the same thing. You know, when we start turning bhakti into an Indian thing, bhakti is not an Indian thing. Bhakti is the nature of every soul. Every soul and all of creation. It's not an Indian thing. Maybe because Bhagavan manifests in India because of the dharmic nature of those persons in India, then it appears that it's an Indian thing, but really it's not. Harinam Mahamantra, which is invested with all of the Shakti of the Lord, Nam Namakari Bahudani Sarva Shakti, is manifesting everywhere all over the world. Is this not the manifestation of the Lord? It is. So we cannot say that it's just that the Supreme Lord is only manifesting in India. Bhakti is not an Indian thing. But in the name of bhakti, sometimes people become confused with astrology, gemology, numerology, so many other ologies, palm reading and all of these kinds of things. This is not bhakti. Sometimes people, it looks like it's connected, but it's not really bhakti. So this can also be a distraction from bhakti. Why am I telling what is not bhakti first? Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, so much more energy needs to be expended to establish what is not bhakti, so that we can bring about an understanding of what is bhakti. Because it's so easy to mistake the weed for the real thing. The weed meaning that plant which looks like your bhakti lata, that creeper. So jnana karma adi anavritam. It is devoid of any other desire which is not anukul, favorable. Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj said, with kindness, which is not favorable to Krishna. Why is this term anukul there? Anukul yena Krishna anushilanam. So why is the word anukul there? In this verse, anyabhilashita shunyam. Because in other definitions of bhakti, it says what is causing pleasure to Krishna. But so many things cause pleasure to Krishna. Even demons trying to kill him. When he's fighting with them, he's experiencing so much pleasure. So in this verse, Rupa Goswami put this word anukul. Anukul means favorable, right? Anukul yasya sankalpa. This is the first symptom of the 6 symptoms of surrender. Accepting a firm resolution that I will only take those things in my life that are favorable for developing bhakti. So the same word is used there, anukul. What is favorable or favorably inclined toward Krishna. So 2 examples are given in this context every time. And our Gurudev spoke about this subject quite often. Why am I going into this verse? Because Rupa Goswami came for what purpose? Of course, he's an eternal associate of the Lord. Sri Rupa Manjari in Krishna Lila, Rupa Goswami in Gaur Lila. But he came to distribute what Mahaprabhu wanted to give. And what is that? Bhakti. So we need to have a clear understanding of what bhakti is and what bhakti isn't so that we can accept what Rupa Goswami wants to give us. That is why so much focus was given to this verse. I heard my Gurudev almost every single time he gave class. Really, this verse was quoted almost every single time. And he said that we should remember it and repeat it on a daily basis. So, anukul, what is favorable? Why is this word there? Because when Krishna entered the wrestling arena of King Kamsa in Mathura, at that time, Kamsa had some of the most powerful wrestlers in the world present, Chanur and Mushtika. And that time Krishna and Balaram entered after killing the demon elephant Kuvalayapida. Krishna and Balaram entered this wrestling arena. And everyone saw how big these other wrestlers were, Chanur and Mushtika, and how beautiful, soft and sweet Krishna and Balaram were. In fact, it is stated that everyone saw according to their own bhav. All the young boys thought, oh, this is my best friend. All the parent-aged personalities saw, oh, they're just like my son. Some people who had Aishwarya Gyan were thinking this is Bhagavan, God. Kamsa saw him as death personified because there was an aerial voice which came on the wedding of Devaki and Vasudev Maharaj, saying, Kamsa, you are such a fool, you do not know that the 8th child of your sister will kill you. So he was always absorbed in thinking about the Lord, but in fear. And the young girls in that wrestling arena, they saw Krishna as Kamadev himself, Cupid, more than Cupid, the Cupid of all Cupids. So there when Krishna was wrestling with Chanur and Mushtika, Krishna and Balaram, at that time he was experiencing so much pleasure, so much happiness wrestling. We know that he also experiences bir ras, the rasa, or he likes the experience, the taste of fighting. And as he was wrestling and fighting with them, he was experiencing so much happiness. So is this considered bhakti? Because they were pleasing Krishna by their endeavor. Our Gurudev wanted us to understand this point very clearly. Even though Krishna was experiencing so much pleasure, still their intention was to kill him. So it was not favorable to Krishna, and therefore, even though Krishna was experiencing pleasure, it cannot be considered bhakti, because bhakti is not the mood of Krishna. Bhakti is the mood of the person approaching Krishna. And their mood was not favorable to Krishna, although Krishna was receiving pleasure. On the other hand, Mother Yashoda, she was feeding Krishna her own milk. And he had his eyes closed and he was very sweetly drinking her milk. Just at that point in time, she heard the milk, the cow's milk, boiling over in the kitchen. And at that time, although Krishna was so powerful that Putana was not able to put him down, and she had the power of 10,000 elephants, when he was taking her milk, she could not put him down. But Mother Yashoda, by the power of her love, very easily and quickly pushed Krishna, put him down. Although he was holding on with both hands, was trying with his legs and holding on with his mouth, still she put him down. And she ran to save the milk. At that time, Krishna became so angry. He became so upset. Why is she leaving me? I was so happy in this situation. I was drinking milk. I was so peaceful. And she put me down and she ran to the kitchen. He became upset and angry. So why did she run to the kitchen? Our Gurudeva explains, and you can read in Sri Damodarashtakam. She ran to the kitchen because the milk in the kitchen, this is, in Vrindavan, everything is conscious. Everything is conscious. Even the milk. Everything. Every particle, everything is conscious. And it is made of love for Krishna. So the milk, according to the commentary of our acharyas, because the milk is conscious, transcendental, chidanandam jyoti, everything is conscious and self-luminous. Everything is made of transcendental consciousness. So the milk is feeling. Mother Yashoda, her love for Krishna is unlimited. And that love is manifested in the form of her milk. So she will never run out of milk. And Krishna's capacity to take and taste is also unlimited. His capacity to drink is unlimited. So he will never be finished drinking and she will never be finished giving. So what is the purpose of my life? Kenova chaya pran. Sukira lagiya narottama dasa keno nagilo maria. What is the use of my life? Why didn't I just give it up? And the milk began to boil over, to dive into the fire. But the nature of the bhakta is that they also have bhakta vatsalya. They see any other devotee that is desirous to serve Krishna, and they want to engage that devotee in the service of Krishna. So at the expense of Krishna's immediate happiness, she ran to save that milk because she knew by that milk I can make Krishna so many wonderful preparations, like barfi, pera, shrikhand, rasamalai, so many beautiful preparations and sweets and everything, which with my own milk I can't make. So she ran to rescue and save that milk. But Krishna was so upset. He somehow got off the bed. He took a pestle for grinding spices and he threw it at the bottom of her yogurt pot, broke that pot. Yogurt was going everywhere. He was angry, he was upset. And then he went into the other room, the storeroom, climbing on top of a grinding mortar, took the butter and began feeding it to the monkeys and the crows and his friends. So naughty, and he was upset at his mother. So I'm not going to go further into this pastime, but she made Krishna upset. He wasn't pleased initially. She made him very upset and angry. Is this considered bhakti or not? Srila Gurudev wanted us to understand this point very clearly. Because her intention was to please Krishna, and it was favorable to him and for his benefit. She wanted him to become strong. She wanted him to be healthy. She wanted to engage others in serving Krishna also for his happiness and benefit. So for the time being, for his immediate pleasure, momentary pleasure, this was put on hold, and she went for increasing his transcendental pleasure more and more. Is this bhakti or not? Yes, because of her intention, it is anukul or favorable to Krishna. So we must see that bhakti is not a factor of necessarily Krishna's immediate pleasure, but it is a factor of the intention of that person who is approaching Krishna. What is their mood? That is why Krishna says, even if one offers me a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, with bhakti, yo me bhaktya prayachati, then I will accept it, if it is done with bhakti. Vidurani was giving Krishna a banana peel. Who wants to eat a banana peel? But because she was doing it with prem, and her prem was such that she couldn't tell this from that, she couldn't tell the banana from the peel, she was completely confused, and with so much love and affection and tears pouring from her eyes, she was feeding Krishna what she thought was the banana, but it was the peel. Because her intention was to please him and serve him with love and affection, he accepted that. And when Vidura tried to stop her, Krishna said, oh, what have you done? As she was serving me, this was the best thing. So wonderful, so sweet. And Krishna becomes more pleased sometimes. We can sit here and play a nice musical kirtan and do everything expertly. But you hear how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is crying, how Rupa Goswami is crying. Ha Devika Kubara Gadgadaya Devacha. Gadgad means his voice is choked up. And that Gadgad, when Krishna hears that someone is crying for him and their voice is choked up and they can't even do their kirtan properly, but their heart is melting and tears are pouring from their eyes, this is so much more relishable for him. When those gopis, they gave up everything that moment they heard Krishna's flute. It entered into their houses, into their ears, into their hearts, stole their hearts, and went back to Krishna in Vangshivat. At that time, those gopis stopped whatever they were doing. Some were in their beds, some were dressing themselves, some were taking care of children, some were cooking, some were doing so many different things. Whatever they were doing, they stopped and they ran at that point. No, some didn't have full makeup on. What is this? Anjanok. There's a place in Braj known as Anjanok, where Krishna is applying Anjan, kajal, to the other eye of Srimati Radhika. This is Anjanok. But this pleases Krishna so much. And when Krishna hears that Srimati Radhika is coming to meet with him, she's stumbling along the way. And when he hears that, sometimes moving, sometimes slowing down, sometimes moving forward, he understands what it is. And this increases his transcendental pleasure. It's not perfect rhythmic. It's that mood of divine love and affection, which makes one mad, premon mad, complete transcendental divine madness. And this increases Krishna's transcendental pleasure more and more and more. So bhakti is about the intention of the person who is moving toward Krishna. And it is awakened in the association of those who have awakened their love and affection for Krishna. Bhakta sanjataya bhakta. So in this verse, anya bhilashita shunyam jnana karma dinavratam anukulyena. Now, Krishna anushilanam. The name Krishna is directly placed in there. That's why our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj established that only because of this, it is the best definition of bhakti, because the name Krishna is there. And because he is the source of everyone, even all other avatars, then this is really pointing to that original, supreme original. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadi, Adi, Govinda, Sarvakaranam Karanam. The prime cause of every other cause, for whom there is no origin and for whom there is nothing before him. Made of, he is composed of, his form is made of Sat Chit Ananda, eternality, divine knowledge of relationship, love and affection, bliss, happiness, love, Ananda. And Parameshwara, Krishna, supreme controller, the origin of everything. Because that name Krishna is there specifically, this makes it the best definition of bhakti. And then Krishna Anushilanam. Anushilanam means exclusive. What is exclusive? As our Srila Gurudev was telling in this book, Going Beyond Vaikuntha. Exclusivity must be there. There is no room for neutrality in bhakti. If you are looking from a neutral perspective, this might be Aishvarya Gyan, means knowledge of the absolute awesomeness, greatness of God. But you will never taste bhakti ras unless you have fixed your Ishtadev. Who is my specific, particular, beloved Lord of my life, my own Prananath? Which form of Bhagavan is my Prananath? One pointed exclusive to one Ishtadev. Then you can call it exclusivity. Until that time, no, we cannot. And we will never experience bhakti rasa as a result. Bhakti rasa means the real nectar of divine transcendental love and affection for our Ishtadev. And in this case, Krishna. So Anushilanam means exclusive, but our Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj explained that this means with everything. So he's now adding this term, sarvopadi vinimuktam. Using all of our senses, our mind, our body, our atma, our heart, everything in the service of Krishna. Everything. Exclusively for his happiness, pleasure, and especially for his benefit. So I'm going to ask a question, and the first person to answer it gets a prize. What's the prize? That is soon to be found out. What is more important? Krishna's immediate happiness or his benefit? His immediate happiness and pleasure or his benefit? This is the question, and that's related to this verse. So Srila Rupa Goswami has given this beautiful verse as the best definition of bhakti, that bhakti is not covered by any other desire. It's not mixed with any other desire. If you want pure bhakti, uttama bhakti, it's not covered by any other desire other than what is for Krishna's happiness, what is for his pleasure, what is for his benefit, what is exclusively for him, and what also brings about a mood of complete and utter dedication to Krishna through every medium, mind, body, words, and everything, and without cessation. And then there's another speciality. The word anu also means something else. Anu means without cessation, and anu also means anugatya. Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja, he explained that bhakti, by its nature, must be under guidance. Of who? So now we come to the other verses of Srila Rupa Goswami. That one is referring to the 8th verse of Upadeshamrita, which is the verse which Upadeshamrita also means nectar of instruction. That verse defines what is the essence of all advice. We don't have much time left. I didn't realize I would speak so much. Oh, very good. Yes, his benefit. Very good. Very good. Uh-oh, Nandini. Krishna's benefit is more. The benefit is more. Like Nanda Baba. When all of those elderly gopas were saying, I don't think you should chastise your son. I think he might be Bhagavan. I think he might be Narayan. Just playing the role of a little boy. We saw him kill so many demons. He's doing things like lifting Govardhan and this and that. I don't think you should chastise him. And then Nanda Baba, he's looking at them like, what's wrong with you all? Do you think Bhagavan will dance for a laddu? Makam butter and sugar candy? Do you think that Bhagavan will get upset when he doesn't get what he wants? And he'll urinate on the floor and pinch babies to make them cry? Do you think that Bhagavan will steal butter from the homes of gopis and feed it to monkeys and crows? You can think whatever you want. But as far as I'm concerned, I am his father. And it is my duty to discipline him so that in the future he won't be a nonsense gunda, mafioso. So this is my duty. So you can think whatever you want, but as far as I'm concerned, he's my son and I must discipline him properly. That is my duty. So this is for Krishna's benefit. If we just wanted to do something for his pleasure, immediate pleasure, then it would not be the benefit, right? If Mother Yashoda saw, oh, he's so happy stealing butter and yogurt and feeding it to the monkeys and crows. Okay, let him keep doing that. But she was also thinking for his benefit. Look what you've done. You broke this pot. You got footprints everywhere, and butter footprints and yogurt footprints. Now you're stealing butter. Oh my God, what's going to happen to my son when he grows up? So she needs to teach him a lesson. She chases him with a stick. She doesn't hit him with it. Then she catches him, and he's weeping and crying. His kajal is smeared and big streak marks of kajal and tears pouring down his face. His heart is palpitating and he's breathing fast. His earrings are shaking. And he's looking at his mother, don't hit me, don't hit me. And she said, anyhow, I must teach you a lesson. Naughty boy. So then she endeavors to bind him. We should understand that this is all transcendental lila. It's not mundane, it is not material. How can she bind him? How can she catch him? Only one whose love is so great that Krishna can be caught because of their love. Only one whose love is so great that Krishna can be bound by that love and affection. So Krishna is bound by the ropes of her love and affection. Krishna is caught by Yashoda, who's able to run faster than Krishna because of her love and affection. So it is all transcendental, and its foundation is love. It has no tinge of material anything in it whatsoever. So we should not draw a comparison between the transcendental pastimes of Krishna and the mundane pastimes of the beings of this world. We should understand that it is all spiritual, all divine, and all transcendental. So, coming back to Rupa Goswami's verse, actually I wanted to speak more about Upadeshamrita, but we don't have much time. Rupa Goswami gave 11 verses known as Upadeshamrita, or nectar of instruction. And in these verses, he's given so much more as well. We might have to speak another day. He's given so much more. The essence of everything that we have, that we follow, this comes through Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Gurudev said he is the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everything Mahaprabhu wanted to give, he gave through Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is like the pen of Mahaprabhu or the flute of Mahaprabhu. And then Gurudev said he is the heart of Mahaprabhu. We can understand how deep, how connected he is. He had full reign to plunder the wealth of the heart of Mahaprabhu and distribute those jewels from deep within that ocean of bhakti ras to the world. So Rupa Goswami, from this Anyabhilashita Shunyam, then we hear that using every part of ourselves, exclusivity for Krishna, for his happiness and pleasure. So I was telling you, what is the essence of all advice? Essence of all advice. Akhilam ityupadesha saram. Iti upadesha saram. This is the essence of all advice. Rupa Goswami tells in the 8th verse of Upadeshamrita, Tannama rupa charitari sukirtananu smrityo kramena rasana manasi niyojya tishtham rajetat anuragi jananugami kalam nayat akilam ityupadesha saram. Earlier today, I spoke a little bit about this, and Sudevi mentioned that some of you may have been present for that. But anyhow, it is good to hear it again and again and again, and also to remember it. When Gurudev would chant this verse, he would always say, Tannam rupa charitari sikittananu kramena rasanam manasim niyojya. So, in this, Upadesha Saram, the essence of all advice, what is that? Kalam nayad. It is without cessation. Srimad Bhagavatam says the same thing. Apratihata, without cessation. Right? Savai pungsam paro dharmo yudo bhakti radhokshaje. Ahitiki apratihata. So ahitiki means without any cause. Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaja explained that this doesn't mean without any cause. It's without any material cause. So this is in line with the definition of bhakti, which is without any material cause. But it must have a spiritual cause. And what is that spiritual cause? What is the only way to get bhakti? Krishna bhakti rasabhavitamati kriyatam yadikitopi labhyate tatra lonyam apimulyam ekalam janma koti shukratarna labhyate. Millions of births, janma koti, of doing good activities in this world, like feeding the poor, helping the sick, building hospitals, and doing all of these things. This cannot give one bhakti. What is the root qualification for bhakti? The intense, greedy desire to have it. So there is a cause. But what is bhakti, and what is the intense, greedy desire to have it? Bhakti is, that's why you need to have the foundation of that verse we spoke about, Anyabhilashita Shunyam. Bhakti is anukulyena krishnanushilanam. This is bhakti. It is favorable toward Krishna. It is exclusively for his happiness, pleasure, and especially his benefit. And it is exclusively for him. For Krishna. with the medium of all of one's senses or anything within anyone's domain. Everything surrendered to Krishna. So this verse is saying that there is a cause. That cause is the intense greedy desire to have it. That is the requirement, the root cause of the manifestation of Krishna Bhakti Ras. So when we're saying that we have an intense greedy desire for bhakti, it doesn't mean that I have an intense greedy desire to enjoy bhakti. It means I have an intense greedy desire to serve Krishna for his happiness, pleasure, and benefit. And that comes in the association of those who already have awakened that, or who have that. Krishna Bhakti Janmamul Hoy Sadhu Sangha. By the association of the pure devotees who have this mood of loving affection for Krishna, this awakens within our heart the desire, the tendency to love and serve Krishna for his happiness, pleasure, and benefit. So the intense greedy desire to have it, it has no mundane cause. So coming back to the other verse, the 8th verse of Upadeshamrita, nectar of instruction, the essence of all advice, kalam nayed, without cessation, not stopping. This is also there in Anyabhilashita Shunyam, constant, steady flow without breaking. No other thing, exclusive, deep, complete absorption. That is necessary. And kalam nayed means 24 hours a day, not 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. It's not enough. Krishna wants everything. 24, constant, steady, non-stop. In the association of and under the guidance of Braj Rasik Bhavuk Bhakta. Actually, not just the Bhakta. Nitya Parikar. An eternal associate of the Lord. Tishtan Braje, residing in Vrindavan. Gurudev said not only residing in Vrindavan, but taking shelter of such a personality who is so rare, but whose heart is overflowing with bhakti ras. Anurag. Anurag, Gurudev said, is like when you take a rag, white cloth, and you put it in dye. Every part of it is saturated. Every part is completely colored, completely saturated by that. So that person who's experiencing anurag, it is completely exclusive, one-pointed. But what kind of anuragi jan? What kind of personality? If we want any kind of ragatmika bhakti, we can approach so many different associates of the Lord. But what is the nature of our Atma? What did Mahaprabhu come to give? And how did he give it? Through Rupa Goswami. Who is Rupa Goswami? Sri Rupa Manjari. What is the nature of Rupa Goswami's or Rupa Manjari's loving service to Krishna? Those who are following in that mood, Tishtam Braje, residing in Vrindavan under the guidance of a dearmost maidservant of Srimati Radhika. This is Anuragi Jan. So, Tishtan Braje, always residing in Vrindavan. Being physically in Vrindavan, yes, it's in Vrindavan, but I can assure you that there are so many people who are physically in Vrindavan who have any other desire other than serving Krishna exclusively. So this cannot be said to be actually in Vrindavan. If I told you right now that Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, or Srila Gurudev, everyone would want to be here. But if I told you right now, Srila Gurudev is in England giving Harikatha, so you can go hang out in your room in Vrindavan, or you can hear Gurudev. What is superior? My mind here will be running in a million directions. But wherever the pure devotee is, because they are fully carrying Krishna within their heart, and they're also giving Krishna actively, then wherever they are, Vrindavan is fully manifest in their heart. Those hills are Govardhan, those lakes are Radhakund, Shyamakund, those rivers are Jamuna, where the pure devotee is present. Wherever they are, at their feet, that is Vrindavan. We say the same thing for Tulsi, right? Every day we circumambulate Tulsi. That your base is Vrindavan. We take the dust there. She is not different. So that is Vrindavan. Tishtam Braje doesn't just mean physically residing in this realm. It means completely absorbed in the bhav of the Shuddha Brajavasis. Like Gurudev said, I'm not going to tell it because it'll be spilling the beans for 2 days from now. Baladev Purnima. I don't want to give it away yet. But those who have a fully saturated heart of Brajabhav, no matter where they go. One time someone apologized to Gurudev when he was on the plane for a long time. I'm sorry you had to be on the plane for such a long time. He said, what do you mean? I was in Vrindavan. So deeply absorbed in the mood of Vrindavan that wherever they go, that place is Vrindavan. And you could see it practically when we were in New Braj, for example. Gurudev would say, now, leave everything else behind and come with me. Now we're going to the banks of the Jamuna at Keshi Ghat, and we will bathe 3 times. And then he would actually dunk us 3 times by mind. 1, 2, 3. Now you should all come and sit and hear about the sweet pastimes of Krishna. And he would start speaking Krishna Katha, Braja Katha, Braja Lila, beautiful pastimes of Krishna. And we'd be sitting there completely mesmerized. And even the weather would change. The flowers would wait to bloom until he would come. You can ask any New Brajavasi from Badger, California. New Braj, Gurudev called it. It is New Braj, same as Braj. If he was coming 2 weeks later, the jasmines would wait until 2 days before he arrived, and then they would start blooming. It didn't matter. It was based on when he would come. And he would start speaking Braj Katha, Braj Lila Katha, beautiful pastimes of Krishna. And as soon as he would start speaking, it was like the sky would change color, become a beautiful purplish color. And then sometimes beautiful sprinkles would come, nectar sprinkles. And then off in the distance, Nanda Gopal's peacocks would start, they would start making their calls. And we'd be like, oh my God, Gurudev just transported us completely. He would transport us completely in his presence. And I was telling you, I can assure you that so many are sitting here, only one, listen, one boy, he's like, do you know any Western girl who wants to get married to an Indian boy? He's always asking. So, if you're sitting here in physical Vrindavan and only thinking about that, then you're not really in Vrindavan, right? Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaja said there's like a net over Vrindavan. Whether your eyes are open or closed, you're still blind. So Tishtam Braje means under the guidance of, in the association of Braj Rasik Bhavuk Vaisnava. This is really Tishtam Braje, to serve under their guidance. So that person whose heart is overflowing with divine transcendental love and affection for Krishna, who is completely saturated, that is Anuragi Jan. And to be under their guidance is Jan Anugami, means under their guidance. And what would one do in the association of such a person? Following their instructions. Of course, we would observe all of the activities of bhakti. So first, Shraddha, Nishtha, Ruchi, Tato Narta Nivritti Sat, Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangat Tab Bhajana Kriya, Tato Narta Nivritti Sat, Tato Nishtha Ruchishtata. So going from the different levels of bhakti, sadhu sangha, and our Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja explained that in this sadhu sangha, just with that proper first step, being under the guidance of a real Vaishnava, then everything else automatically falls into place, naturally. Mahaprabhu condensed all of the symptoms or elements of bhakti into 5. Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Maturava, Shri Murtir, Shraddhaya Sevam. Sadhu Sangha means associating with and taking shelter of the pure Vaishnava. Nam Kirtan means chanting the holy names of the Lord, glorifying the Lord's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. Bhagavat Shravan means hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, or hearing from the Mahabhagavat Vaishnava. Mathuravas means residing in Mathura Mandal, meaning Sri Vrindavan. And Sri Murtir Shraddhaya Seva means with faith, with regard, love and affection, worshipping the Archa Vigraha, the deity form of the Lord. In the association of the pure devotee, all of those things naturally take place. But if we try to do any of those activities, not under the guidance or the association of a pure devotee, this would be like missing the most essential point. Because the Supreme Lord says what? Pratamam tu gurum pujam. First of all, you must worship Sri Guru. If you do not do so, then anyata nishphala bhavet. Everything else is rendered fruitless. Krishna said it. So there's a series of steps which must take place. So before doing Nam Kirtan Bhagavat Shravan Naturava Shri Murti Shraddhaya Sevan, then we must first take shelter of Sri Guru. And that's the first thing that Rupa Goswami also mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Of the 64 limbs of bhakti, what is the first thing he mentions? Ado Guru Padashray. First of all, Ado Guru Padashray. Taking shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Guru. And the first 5 that are mentioned are all about that. Taking shelter of, receiving diksha from, serving Sri Guru. This is what Rupa Goswami is establishing in the beginning. So in Sadhu Sangha, then everything else is taken care of. So what are we going to do? Tan nama rupa chalitadi sukittananu. I'm telling this because Rupa Goswami says it is the essence of all advice. And so when we hear a term like that, it should really create some kind of greed, some kind of attraction. Oh, the essence of all advice? Okay, our ears should perk up, our interest should peak. Oh, that's the essence. Okay, I want to know what the essence is because I want to know what the goal is and how to attain the goal. If this is the essence, it means I should be interested in it. When something like that is told, like when you hear, this is the opinion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and there is nothing beyond it. That should pique our interest. What is that? What is his opinion? What's nothing beyond it? Then we run to understand what that is. So, Tannama Rupa Charita Adi Sukittananu. Krishna's names, Rupa, is forms, Charita is qualities, Adi, and so forth. That means pastimes. Name, Nam, Rupa, Guna, Lila. Name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Tannama Rupa Charita Adi Sukirtananu. To do Sukirtan. What is that? Su means, when you put the prefix Su on anything, like Sudevi. Devi means goddess, and Su means literally super or supreme. It always adds something to it. So you can say, like Krishna says, Samahatma Su Durlabha. Durlabha means rare. Su Durlabha means extremely rare. So Su gives it a bit of a massive emphasis. Su Kirtananu. And Anu is there also. But Su Kirtan means what kind of Kirtan? Deeply saturated in Bhav. Means very, very intense. Very focused, very deep, saturated with ras and complete dedication. This kind of kirtan, in that association with that kind of devotee who has that kind of mood. Tannam rupa charitari sukirtananu smrityo kramena. So smrityo means to remember, and kramena means in sequence. Rasana. Rasana, what is rasana? Manasi niyojya, within the mind. Manasi. So, it means constantly remembering the pastimes of Krishna. For a sadhak, this is actually referring to something very deep. Ashtakaliya lila smaran, which is not necessarily for those who are still fully engaged in, or even partially engaged in any material activities. It is for those who are completely dedicating themselves, but still, smrityo kramena rasanam manasi niyojya. It means to remember the pastimes of Krishna. So for us here and now, we can remember what we have received directly from our Gurudev, what we read in Srimad Bhagavatam, and we can meditate on the names of the Lord and remember these sweet pastimes. When Gurudev said chant and remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna, every single day almost he would say this. You should chant and remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna. What we have received from our Guru Varga, it is right and proper that we should think of that. If we don't think about the pastimes of Krishna, then what will we think about? Our own pastimes, and the pastimes of others, and anarthas, and all kinds of other things. The sins of others, the faults of others, my sins, this, that, everything else, if we don't think about Krishna. That's why Krishna says, Manmanabha, always think of me. Absorb your mind in thinking of me. Mad Bhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam Namaskuru, offer your pranam unto me. Engage everything in service to me. Mind, body, soul, all of your senses. Everything in service to Krishna. Now it's getting late. So smrityo kramena rasanamanasin yojya. So I've broken that verse down to a certain extent. But this is the essence of all advice. Really, everything else will naturally come into play if we are under the guidance of the Vaishnava and serving that Vaishnava for that Vaishnava's benefit. And what do they want? What did Gurudev beg of us? Please make me happy. How? Make me happy, he said. By becoming happy and chanting your Harinam. He doesn't need anything from us. He just actually does not want to see us suffer anymore because he is made of the essence of the compassion and mercy of Krishna. So their hearts cannot tolerate to see the suffering of the jivas of this world. Their hearts bleed upon seeing our suffering. So how do we serve Guru and Vaishnavas who are made of compassion and mercy? Whose hearts are bleeding upon seeing our suffering? We serve them by stopping our suffering. How? By accepting what they are giving us. Take what I am giving you. Chant your Harinam. Chant your mantras. Follow my instructions. Take shelter of Harinam Prabhu. Dive deep. Serve for their benefit, for their pleasure. And by this process, then we will be able to progress on the path of bhakti, especially through that service by developing a mood of mamata, possessiveness, that you are mine, and also that I am yours. O Gurudev, Goromore Atmasat, make me yours. You are mine, and I am yours. And with that feeling of mamata, or deep attachment, right? Attachment, Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese Uttamagati. Attachment to his lotus feet. This gives the perfection of fulfilling all desire. What is that? All desire is really the nature of our soul. By taking shelter of Guru, Guru Nishta is the backbone of bhakti. So by taking shelter of the lotus feet of Guru, Shri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakti Sadma. This is the only way to awaken and to develop the mood of pure, loving devotion unto Krishna, by which Guru will be happy, by which Krishna will be happy, by which we will be happy, by which everything will be happy. So it's good all around. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhanu Guru Varga ki jai, Rupa Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Gaur. So I've seen that someone wrote a question, but now it's late, so I will read this question today, and we will mention it tomorrow. Thank you. There's so much more to discuss about Sri Rupa Goswami and his teachings. It's unlimited. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Today and giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful instructions and teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, especially to continue remembering the glories of the teachings of Srila Goswamipada. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. So Dandavat Pranam, Hare
Dandavat
Krishna,
Pranam.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.